So today we're going to look at some information about our percent module. And if you notice, I have the formula in the module lecture where we're using the percent, and remember the percent has to be a decimal, times our total value. So that means the total cost of something, the total number of wild horses, the total salary. And that is going to equal a part. Okay, so what does that really mean? So let's look at a few sample questions, okay? Let's say that there are 1,200 endangered animals left in an ecosystem. Let's say there's 1,200 alligators. I'm from South Louisiana, so gators are a big thing for us. Let's say we have 1,200 alligators. And each year, we're allowed to hunt 15% of them. So I want to find the total number of gators that might be hunted that year, assuming we did the entire 15%. So to do that, we're going to have to convert 15% to a decimal, so I get 0.15. Now, remember, 1,200 is the total number of alligators that I could have in a given year. So I'm going to do 0.15 times 1,200, and that's going to give me the part. So what does the part mean? The part means it's going to tell me what 15% of 1,200 is, what that smaller subgroup would be. So when I do that calculation on my calculator, I get 180. So that means that 180 alligators can be hunted that season. So anytime you're trying to find that partial or that subgroup, that's what we're going to do. Now, what happens when I know the partial group, right? So let's say that I know the sales tax. So the sales tax on an item is $10. So that's the total amount of money I'm going to pay in sales tax. Let's say that I know sales tax is 8%. So I want to find the total cost of the item. So here it's important to remember, when we pay for an item, we pay the price of the item as well as the sales tax. So the sales tax amount, $10, is that partial amount. So I'm going to take that percent and convert it to a decimal times my total. I don't know what my total is, so I don't know. I'm going to put a letter there. I'm going to call it S today. Equals that subgroup of $10. So this is where we start to have some confusion. We need to solve an equation here. I have 0.08 times S. Anytime we solve an equation, we're going to do the opposite. So what's the opposite of multiplication? The opposite is going to be division. So I'm going to divide both sides by 0.08. And it should make sense that you're paying more for the item than you're paying in tax from your life experience. If it's not more, that should kind of throw a red flag. So in my calculator, I'm going to type in 10 divided by 0.08. And the total cost of the item before tax is $125. So you have to remember how to solve the equation, and you have to remember that it should be logical you're spending more money on an item than in tax, right? Otherwise, the government has a problem. So now how do we find the percent? Let's say that an item cost $50. So I want to buy something for $50. And this is a frequent lesson with my children. They think, oh, I only need $50, right? That's not the case. We have to pay sales tax. So let's say I'm living in a state where I'm very blessed and my sales tax is only $5. So my tax is actually higher than that. But we're going to say, for the sake of thing, that that's going to be the sales tax. So to find the percent, I'm going to set up my equation. So I'm going to have my percent, I don't know what it is, times the total cost of the item, which is $50, equals that partial amount, which is $5. So how am I going to solve this for the percent? Well, we're going to do the opposite again. I'm doing multiplication of 50, so I'm going to divide both sides by 50. So I divide both sides by 50 to solve this for my percent. And remember, you're going to get a decimal here. So you're going to need to convert that decimal over to a percent. So when I do that in my calculator, I get 0.1. My sales tax is not 0.1. My sales tax is 10% because 0.1 times 100 is 10%. So this is one of each type of problem that you might encounter in Module 3. Make sure you work these out with me in a video. Make sure that you understand. If you have questions, reply to the lecture thread. Reach out and get help. You guys can do this. Have a great week.